Okay, we'd get up early in the morning, and the first thing we do, we'd go down to the docks where the fishing boats came in, and we would get, they would chop off the heads of the fish there, and we get about, a sack full of those heads.
How big of a sack full?
Just a garden, a grocery store sack full.
Oh, okay.
That's all we needed because we only put one head per pot. One head is all we had to hang in there. We hung it. There was a regular wire and had a hook on it. You just hooked it into the head, and the head hung there. See, and now we would put the crab pots down. Now, of course, you put them down with a rope. They go down with a rope, but you have your own marker. Your own marker, like see that blue ball that Shane has got there.
Yeah.
That could be considered like our marker. So now when we go out at noon, we'd go out again at noon, and we'd pull in our crab pots, and they were always pretty full. But that's when you had to go through the crab pot, and you had to throw out the one. Bill always carried a stick, as a U-shaped stick, straight across, and then each side was a little stick ran down. And he'd always taken and put it across the shell. He was very, very particular about this, because if you come in with less than 4 inches, I think it was 4 inches what he had, they would really fine you. They would, matter of fact, you could lose your boat. Anyway, he would measure every crab. He'd take them out one at a time and measure to make sure they were more than 4 inches across. Then, if they weren't, over the board they went. He'd throw them right back. And then
the lucky ones. The lucky
those
ones.
are the lucky ones. They were sent back to grow up and get bigger. Then he'd put them all in his bucket. We had a white bucket, one of those that stands about this high, with a white bucket. And he'd throw the keepers in there. And then we would go back to the dock. We're in his dinghy, which was his big sailing boat. It's dinghy. We used that. And then I had to kill and crack all of those crabs. Bill never would. He wouldn't touch them.
Why not?
I don't know why. But he said, go here. He'd put the bucket on the dock and say, go to it, Harry, go to it. And so I take and grab them across by on the shell, the back. And there was like I say, a 4x4 running right along the dock, the edges of the dock on each side. And I put the center of that crab, I'd center it right on that 4x4. Then I'd give a push, because all this time they're trying to reach him back and get a hold of your hand. Oh, and I had one to get a hold of my thumb, and I'm telling you, you can't, they won't let go when they know they have something alive.
Yeah.
And they won't let go, I'll tell you. Bill had to help get him off. Anyway, you push, put him center.
Wait, one got your thumb one time?
Yeah. See what I was doing? No, it was my little finger, because I was holding it under, I don't know why, but I was holding it under. That's right, it was my little finger. And I was holding it like that, and instead of having that little finger out, I had it under. Anyway, I learned my lesson there in a hurry, because those crabs, those claws, have got a lot of power. When I was done, I had a real white spot across the nail that took a long time going away. That's how hard they can bite. And anyway, I'd center them on that 4x4, then I'd give a push. And when I give a push, that was it. They didn't make any action at all. It takes the wind out of them. You could hear it go. And then I'd take and I'd grab all of these claws and I'd bend them backwards and flip the back, and the back would come right off. And you should have seen thousands of little fish down there waiting for those backs to come off. And when those backs come off, those little fish had a feast. They had a feast. And of course, that kind of made me happy that at least something, it wasn't going to waste. and I flip off, and there's lungs and everything would go with it.
Mm-hmm.
And those little fish would just be, you just should have seen them. They're only about this long, the fish were. But you should have seen them fighting to eat. Anyway, then I'd flip them, and then I'd break the back in half, and I'd put all this in the bucket. Now, Bill would take these, and that's morning, or noon. Then we'd set the crab pots out again, and we'd make sure the bait was nice and fresh, and that's where he'd use some more fish heads. Sometimes those crabs ate quite a bit of those fish heads. And we would put new fish heads in them, and we'd drop those crab pots again. And they go down to the bottom. The pots go right to the bottom. You can tell when they hit the bottom. You can feel them, because the rope becomes slack, you know.
Mm-hmm.
And then, of course, we got the float. We'll just throw the float overboard on that pot. So when we come back, we always look for our floats. Our floats is all. But sometimes there was kids that would go out there and steal crab by just pulling up anybody's float and taking the crab. And sometimes they did that to Bill and I. And they'd steal the crab.
You know who that reminds me of, Grandpa?
Yeah, somebody that I know that used to steal milk off the porches of houses, and then he'd get his biscuits or buns, whatever it was, delivered by the bakery, and I know the bakery got in the milk place got. I was really early in the morning. I mean, I would get up about. This is right when they went by, maybe at 4:30 or 5 in the morning.
Yeah.
And there was nobody up. And so I'd be going across the street, broad daylight. I'd go over and I'd go walk right up in their porch. Right up on the porch. Grab a bottle of milk. And then I'd take it back toward the park. And I'd sit there and wait for a little bit. And it wasn't long, and here comes the bakery truck. In those days, I can't get over it. Those delivery firms knew there was a guy that needed his breakfast.
What do you want to drink, gentlemen?
I would like water.
Water. Wes?
One of
is
the
there
hum
tea?
things out there, please.
Terry, I'd take tea if there was some tea.
There's some
Tea.
different kinds of tea out there.
Different kinds of tea?
Yeah. Well, are you talking about the yellow, the raspberry that you guys have out there, or?
I don't know if we have raspberry.
Let me go look.
Everybody ever see you, Grandpa?
Nobody ever caught me. And I'd see there was fortunately a lot of bushes in that park. So I'd sit behind one of those bushes, and I'd have my breakfast. And I wouldn't waste anything either. I'd drink that whole quart of milk. I'd drink it. And of course, I always stole the standard, what we call your standard, because it had the cream on the top. And so, if you don't think, I'd take the cap off. In those days, they were delivering in bottles, in glass bottles. I'd take the cap off, and that first one, the standard, when the homogenized, you couldn't, there was never cream on top. The standard was always.
Mm-hmm.
Is that one okay, Wes?
Yeah.
Is this what you want, Dad?
Yeah, that
white tea.
What's that?
White
White tea,
raspberry.
raspberry.
Oh, okay, I'll take it.
Okay, and Wes, you want
Yeah.
this?
You want to keep it out here?
Yeah.
Are we?
Okay.
I think we're eating out here.
Are we gonna eat out here, or?
Well, I don't know. Let me find out. Are we eating outside? We're eating outside, Karen?
Anyway, that first drinking, huh?
Do you guys want to eat outside or inside?
Inside, I
Well,
think.
yeah.
'Cause it's getting kind of warm out here.
Yeah, it is getting kind of warm.
Anyway, that first part I drink would be all cream. Man, oh man, if you don't think that was good for me, that cream. Because I needed that, all the protein and everything else that was in there.
Yeah.
And then I'd get those buns or whatever the bakery delivered, and I'd be sitting there just munching away, having a nice breakfast, and nobody ever caught me.
Huh.
You know, you do things, crazy things. I was probably 14, 15, 16 then.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
when I would always have a new swimsuit. By the way, yours isn't one of
I know. Yeah, you told me.
them. It is.
You
But
told me.
I like I say, I'd unbutton a button here on the shirt,
Mm-hmm.
and then I'd lean over the counter. First of all, I'd be leaning over and going through the suits, looking at them, like most people would do. They would look at. Then the one I wanted, I pulled it over here and put it right in front of me, and then I'd stand there for a bit, and then in those days they didn't have guys watching you. Oh, it's so much different, and they had no movie cameras. I'd have been on many a movie camera. But anyway, then as soon as I saw the one I want, I'd lean over that counter and I'd be, with this hand, I'd be looking at the suits out here, but this hand would be here stuffing one in the shirt. And so I'd soon go out of the store like I didn't find anything I liked.
But you
And
did
I
find
did
something you
find
liked.
something I liked. I did. And I'd go out, and now I had my swimming suit I wouldn't get a new one every day. I would wear it for maybe about a month. Then I'd get a new one.
Oh.